Alright guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to connect a PHP application with your MySQL server or with your SQL server. So today we are going to connect a database using XAMPP. So let's just begin. So let's say, for example, you have a PHP application and you want to connect it with your backend, that is a database like SQL. Today we are going to explore that in the easiest way possible. So let's begin. Now the first thing we'll do, let me come up with a database here, and I'm going to call this database my blog, for example. So I'm assuming that you have a PHP application that you want to make, or you are still in the process and you have a database already and so forth. So I've created a database here with the name my blog, but I will not give it tables since it's just a demo application. So now the next thing we'll need to do is that we need to go to XAMPP. Yes, we need to go to XAMPP and then go to htdocs. Now within htdocs, here you're going to make the application. For example, you can see I have different applications here which are connected to the SQL and so forth. So now here you'll want to come here. I'm pressing Ctrl+Shift+N to make a new folder. Now I'm going to call this folder my blog, right? I'm going to call it my blog. So now the next thing, now let's go back to our VS Code and let's open this folder. So it's under softwares, and within softwares it's within XAMPP and htdocs. Okay, so let me just locate that. That is it. So now let me open that using my VS Code. Okay, now let's say this is my project that I'm having, but I need to connect this project with the database or with the SQL. So how do we do it? Now the first thing here, we need to come here. Now this is the root of my project where we have the folder. And within the root of your project, we know that you can have many other files like the CSS, JS, depending on which type of application you are making. So I'm going to make a new folder here within the root folder, and I'm going to call it database. Let's say now this is the part of your database that you want to connect your application with. So within database, I'm going to establish the connectivity within our SQL. So I'm going to make a file here, and the name of the file is connect. I'm going to give it connect.php since it's a PHP file. So now that one is within the database, and then within the database we have connect.php. Now here is where we're going to establish our code base, which is going to enable us to connect it with the backend. All right guys, so let's write the code. So now the first thing here you need to do, let's write a PHP opening tag, and then we're going to give several variables that are going to establish the connectivity in our database. So the first one will be, we're going to give the host. So the host should be our local host. Okay, so the other one will be the username. So this will be, sorry, not user pane, username. Okay, so the username here, I'm giving it root since it is root, and then the password of our database here. So the password of our database here is empty since I have not given my server any password. So the DB name, the name of the database. So you can just guess what's the name of the database. It's my blog, the one we have just created now. So this should be this is the database right here that we have created. So this is the name of the database. Okay, so now the next thing, now since we have our four variables, so the next thing we need to do is now to establish the connectivity. So let's have a variable, let's call it object. So this is an object. We're going to give it a new function called MySQLi in caps. Now MySQLi is a function in SQL that establishes connectivity within database. So now I'm going to pass the 4 variables that we have just created within the first part. So the first one is just, as you can see it, the host. And then the second one we are going to give is the username. So we're going to give the username. The other one is going to be the password. So that's the password. And then lastly, the database, the name of the database, which is the DB. And then close. Now I want to check if the database is successful. That is, I want to check if the connection is successful or if there's going to be an error. So that is very important because we are just doing a demo to see how we can connect. So I'm going to have an if statement which is going to check if the database that I'm connecting to, sorry, this is okay, this connect. So I'm going to introduce that function connect error, which is going to check if the database that I'm connecting to has any error or not. So let's use the die function in our PHP. Now this one will have database. This should be going to have the database connection. So database connection error. So this is going to have the database connection error. In other words, there is an error in our database connection. Now we are going to concatenate this using this particular function. So let me introduce that. So I'm going to say here connection error. So there's going to be a connection error if our database has not successfully connected. So there's going to be a connection error. Sorry, this should be con error. That is sorry, this should be this way, the error like that. So that is now what is happening. So here we are going to say die connection error, and then we are going to concatenate with this particular statement, which gives us, or is going to draw the type of error that is occurring. So now once that is established, let's have another else statement, and this one we are going to echo with the statement such as database connection is successful. Database connection successful. So that is what we are going to establish within that. So if the database is connected, then it's going to be successful. If there's an error, then we are going to throw the error with this particular statement. Is going to give us the type of error where it is occurring. So let's run this. So let me just save that. So let's check if the connectivity within our database is successful. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have localhost. So we are going to give a URL which establishes for us the database connectivity. So we are going to have the URL my blog. So it is localhost my blog /database. As you can see, it is already open. This should be, so here we are having, this is connect.php. So we are having the URL should come from the localhost and then our project folder and then the database and then connect like that. So this should be connect.php and then we just run the statement. So now this one is drawing the particular statement whereby it says the connection is successful. Now let's say, for example, the connection was not successful. In other words, there was an error. So let's establish an error here. So in the password, let me give it like my blog. Let's say the password was my blog, but the password was not true because I've not given my SQL server a password. And then let me save this. So let's run the application again. And let's see. Now you can see this is the error that will be thrown. So to have database connection error, then user access denied for user root at using password yes. So now this one is being established through the help of this statement here that we have concatenated it. So that's how the error is coming in. So guys, this is the tutorial for today. How to connect a PHP with your SQL server. Hope you liked it. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, like and share it. Share this tutorial with your friends and let them understand this easy concept. So guys, let's meet in the next tutorial. If you have any question regarding this, just post it in the comment section below. Now another thing you need to know is that once you have established this database connectivity, now you're going to use this particular variable, that is con, to establish any connectivity in your application. For example, let's say you have a post. For example, you have a post. Let's say you have a database table that has posts. For example, select from post and all that. So you're going to use the con object to establish the connectivity within your backend database. So that's how you're able to use it. So guys, let's meet in the next tutorial.